Hey everyone, Meg McLean here to talk about a new idea I've been working on, which is the Activist Reputation Rating and Fundraising website. And this is to promote successful activism and provide sponsorship and funding opportunities to ensure more in the future. So this is what the site will offer. An activism or activist rating system, which will allow users to search for activists based on the type of activism they do, the issues that their activism covers, their positive or negative feedback about their activism, their level of activist experience, and other factors. And this will also offer easy donation or sponsorship options for each activist, activism group, and activism project profiled on the site. And they'll have easy to use donate or sponsor links, and this will allow people to fund activism they find to be most beneficial. Now, this is how the site will work. For activists, activists can create a profile that includes information about their activism. Once their profile is made live on the site, users can view, rate, or give personal reviews of the activist's work. There's also a link option to donate or sponsor an activist. And for activism groups, this is groups made up of activists such as Free Keen or Cop Block, FIJA, and other types. In the same way as activists, activist groups can also create group profiles, but this will include information about the group as well as activists involved with the group. So users can go through and see each activist involved and see if they want to be involved with that activist as well as the group. And then there'll obviously as well be quick donate or sponsor link options. Now for activism projects, these are projects in the works that people are searching for donations or sponsors, fundraising for these projects to come to light. Activists and activist groups can make project profiles for projects that are currently seeking funding or sponsorship. And these project profiles will include links to the profiles of activists involved with the project, among the amount of funding needed, and quick donate sponsor links. And the thing that makes activism project profiles different is that they'll actually list the funding that they're searching for in exact amounts. And so when people donate to a project, they know exactly what their money is being used for, like printing brochures or, buying permits if that's the kind of activism you want to do, legal fees, whatever the case may be. People know that their money is going directly to a project as opposed to activists or activism groups where it's more just a general sponsoring because you believe this person is effective. So for the actual profiling of the activist groups, and projects on the site, I'm going to use a sample stat card here to kind of show you what this is going to look like. So each card will have the activist's name, a photo, location, website, and it'll have this space over here that says activism stats. Now, for each different type of activism, I've made icons. I'm sure there's other types out there, and I'm sure some of these can be combined. This is just, a demonstration to kind of show how this is going to work. But these are just overviews of not an issue specific, but something that someone might do, like go to a protest or perform some cop block action or give a speech or run a campaign, whatever it may be. These are just the different types. So an activist will go through, and for each activism act that they do, each event that they attend or set up or whatever, they'll fill out a profile for that. And then once all their activism that they've done has been profiled in their activist profile, on their card it'll show the icons of the specific activism that they've done. It'll also have numbers in the corners of, like, say this person, did 2 different civil disobedient or non-cooperation acts, attended 2 protests, gave 1 presentation, has 1 source of activist media, has done 5 different cop block acts. And so, that'll just give you a quick overview of what type they do and how much they do it. And then this number 11 just is the total number of activism acts this single activist has done. Now at the bottom we'll have issue tags, which these are just more specific. The activists will actually put these in themselves, and when popular tags start reoccurring, people can just click the popular ones. But this will show kind of what the exact issue that this person focuses on is. And so for this person it's TSA, free speech, right to record, so on and so forth. Every activist will have different issue tags. Now, the rating systems on the site, I'll talk more about these in a moment, but this is just, reviews or ratings. If you like this activist's work, vote them up. If you didn't like it, vote it down. Give your reasons why. The follow activist button will allow people to get email updates whenever the activist has new activity on their profile. And then the sponsor activist button will send you to, whatever site to donate to the activist directly, or activist group, project, whatever it happens to be. Now, this tag on the side, I could add to any activist that has a project in the works. Like if they made a project profile that's seeking funding right now, they'll have a star tab, so you can click on this and see what project they're working on now and if you want to fund it. To kind of promote use of the site, we could also have these ribbon awards for, top-rated activists, the most active activists, the most sponsored activists, and that'll go in the corner of their card there, just so that people can have even more of an idea, this person is good in the community, that they're well known for doing good activism, or, they're very active, the people really respond to this act, whatever it may be, you want to win the awards because that just makes your reputation go up. So just a little added information, the group profiles and project profiles will be similar. However, instead of having activism stats, they will just have links to activists involved in the group or project. That way you can individually vet the people involved in a group. Maybe, you're looking at a group, you think it's really great, but then you look at the activists involved and there's just one person that you really disagree with, and so you decide not to go with them. This is just also because to have groups set up all the different individual acts that the group has done would just get cluttered and confusing. So this just simplifies it a little bit. Second, these stat cards will be short overviews. This will just be like the search that comes up will have all these stat cards. And you can link, the stat cards themselves will have a link so you can go look at the full profile, which will include, more detailed information about all their activism. And one thing that we're going to require on the site is anytime you have an activism act listed on your stats, to include a link to some sort of proof, be it video, photo, news article, whatever, just so that people can see, you're not just making it up. Third, to ensure the ratings and comment systems are most beneficial, we're not going to have people be able to rate people anonymously. If you want to put a negative or positive rating on an activist's stats, you have to sign in and you have to, stand by your rating. If you think somebody, you want to give them a negative rating because you think they'd come off too angry whenever they do civil disobedience, you'll want to write that in the comments and make it clear, this is why I disagree with this activist. Or for the opposite, for positive, this is why I agree with this activist. And that's just to avoid any sort of trolling, knocking people down or pushing people up, not based on their activism, but on other factors like you don't like them, they owe you money, whatever it may be. I want to toss all that stuff out. I don't care if it's the most awful person in the world. If their activism is successful, you want to promote that because in the end, we're trying to gain liberty. And, if it's jerks that push us to liberty, hey, I'll take it. So, and finally, the site itself will not take in or allocate the funds. Every time an activist, activism group, or project profile is made, one of the things that we're going to make them input is whatever source they use for funding, be it PayPal or Bitcoin or something like that. The site itself will not take in the money. The activist or activist group or whatever, you'll go directly through them. So that way, we're not handling the money. We're just making it easy for you to figure out who you want to give money to. So these are the things that we need to create the site, and this is just more the monetary issues that will have to come up at some point. The domain name purchase, hosting, web developer to build the site. Obviously, I can do the graphics. I'm willing to do those completely for free, but I don't know how to build a website, and this is a little more complicated than just a WordPress, so might have to hire somebody to build that. And then moderators for, obviously, if we're going to have commenting and rating systems, we need to make sure that those are effective, and so they will have to be moderated. And depending on the popularity of the site, we might have to actually pay somebody because it could take a lot of time. And although it's very easy work, it is time consuming. So we want to be able to compensate for that. So that's kind of the overview, and this is the feedback that I'm looking for from everybody before I start this site. First of all, the site name. I was thinking something like activist trading post, sort of thinking of activists as commodities, because in a way, this is how the site's presenting them. You're purchasing successful activism or sponsoring successful activism. So just a site name around that sort of idea would be great. The second feedback I need is, what are the main types of activisms? If you look back, the icons that I had there for, there's civil disobedience, there's campaigning, there's protests. I just want to get whatever the main ones are so we can have the main types of activism, and then people can fill in the issues when they do those. So just kind of want a consensus on those types. Number 3, requiring people to publicly display all comments and ratings. Obviously, I explained why I think that's a good idea, because the internet is famous for anonymous trolling, and I really want this site to be focused on promoting successful activism as opposed to just, going off on people for being ugly or stupid or whatever. I really want people to take this at heart and say, I like this person's activism because of this, and I stand by that statement, or I don't like it because of this, and I stand by that statement. Because if you're not going to stand by it, why should I believe it? So I just don't know if that's going to make a lot of people sort of wary of using the site if they have to sign in and display all their, comments and ratings publicly. It might squash some of the feedback, but at the same time, I want to know people's views on that, because I really think that making all comments and ratings public is the only way to make them reputable. I guess my final question is if this is actually something people would be interested in. Obviously, I don't want to take the time and energy of building it if nobody's going to use it. So just let me know if this is something that you would use. And if there's any other questions or suggestions or anything, I'd love to hear them. So just send all of those to megmclean@gmail.com. That's meg.mclean@gmail.com, sorry. Or post them in the comment section on my website where I post this. And hope to hear back from you. And I really think this could be a beneficial site for everybody out there. So I hope to hear back from you. Thanks.